Whoa, now what's happening with it? It's your mans and them five shot and reporting on the Bamboozlers Again News Network. Whereas I routinely like to say, Negroes get bamboozled every day, B. In the land where, the adversary has dominion over this world, what do you expect to happen? And it's crazy how, I'm going to change like a certain rhetoric I've been talking about on here, right? Because I question like the manifestation thing, like, oh, I'm a manifest a man. Like, I was wondering, how can I manifest something that's outside of the Most High's will, right? But what's oddly enough, yo, is crazy. It seemed like I'll just say stuff, right? Not from a spiritual, I'm just, flowing with it, just talking, right? And what I'm saying ends up coming true, yo. Now, I don't know the guerrilla Hebrew Israelite man. Now, granted, had I known about him prior to this, his name alone would have triggered my spidey sense. The guerrilla Hebrew. And when I, made rhetoric talking about these bully coon Negroes who got some type of institutionalized spirit, and a lot of time, the hyper masculinity to cover up for inward deficiencies or insecurities is a prime example. I've seen a couple brothers cover this, and because I'm working and doing other, I don't have time to really delve all the way deep into it. But I heard enough to know, ooh, that's why the mind was diabolical, Jack. But that's what I was talking about too. Because sometimes I'll be like, I don't know if I'm conveying my message correctly or am I led to say certain stuff, right? But I was just thinking about how, and I maybe said this a couple videos ago, where it's like now you got to be extra on guard and put on the whole armor, right? Because typically, like, I know the tares and the wheat grow up together, so they look similar. It's hard to tell, right? But there should be, if a fun, further like deep inspection, right? I was thinking about how like the brothers can know our true identity, right? They can use Yahuwah's real name. They can almost prophesy to you to some degree. I don't know if they use a familiar spirits, and be totally on the left hand side of things. And here's one of my telltale traits, right? Now ain't nobody perfect, myself included. That's why I come on here and be transparent. You understand me? Cause I ain't trying to act like I'm more than them is, or I don't have certain struggles or anything along them lines, right? But I know it's a lack of humility, right? Case in point, the ring. I guess New Breed and Ringo want to shoot the fade. Now I don't want clout chase or nothing like that. I'm just covering this for identification purposes. So when you see this play out in your personal life, you can identify it, right? Because it's like everybody's falling under some type of program, right? Ringo do the same stuff. He be online talking real jazzy, right? Pause. You know what I'm saying? He talk that real Gucci dance stuff. But then when somebody call his bluff to that which he portrays himself to be, he just continues to talk. If the mind, you, according to you, to disrespect your family and curse your bloodline, this, that, and the third, and he offer you a battle in which you can make money, because you're on YouTube to make money and talk about the mind, you'll do it for that. But you won't hop in the ring out of fear of exposure. The narcissists and all them type of people, they care about their outward image. I don't. Now, of course, I try to, I'm going to work, so I try to present myself a certain way, carry myself with a certain decorum, so on and so forth. If I don't really care what nobody think, I'm too busy caring about, my conscience and what the Most High think ultimately at the end of the day. I'm not trying to appease the world. That's why I can come on here and talk about my struggle with smoking cigarettes or, you know, periods of uncertainty. I'm in one now. I've been in that space. It just helps build up my faith, even though I don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but I'm saying this all over the place. As I talked about on here, the bully coon spirit, where they rah 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 rah, but behind closed doors, they woman telling them what to do, or you know what I'm saying. And then and we had a meeting here today, yesterday, and I hold a men's group, and the brothers got to sharing, and we ended up on this vein of conversation about you mess up, you recognize it, you try to right the wrongs. It's gonna be a period of time. You fighting every day, you mess up, you own up to it, you make a mistake here and there, whatever the case may be. You learn something from it, you move forward. But when you trying to do right, and the word alludes to this, so I try to give just life stuff you might see and correlate it to the Bible and scripturality. I don't want to say spiritual because, the devil's spiritual, right? You know what I mean? And we're just talking about how when you do right, all hell break loose, or you don't get support, or It seems like every time you try to do something regular, you see everybody else do without a second thought, everything is meant to stop you, right? But you gotta keep fighting though. And I believe this, right, as a man, right? You have to be the totality holistically of a mind. So I try to be physically strong. I try to be mentally strong. I try to be knowledgeable of a lot of different aspects of life. Not that I'm consumed by it, but again, you know, the word said we're not ignorant of the adversary's devices, right? But a lot of times in these Christian churches, they can't teach them how to function in life. Now, I've been a fool for most of my life, right? But somehow the Most High has made me wise. You know what I'm saying? To the point where, like, the Christian church, right, doesn't help you navigate the dating field or give you, male or female. They don't give you the real game as far as that. When the word talks about, like, the world being actually more wise than us, because we're kind of naive to a degree or something like that, that is true. That's why you're supposed to wear wisdom around your neck and guard it and take it everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? Because the subtlety of the game, now people getting exposed and so on and so forth. I see it all over the place. My man just sent me a clip of a TikTok video in which the stuff I was talking about Friday is happening all over. Patient brokering, people paying people to trick them into treatment, and it's just a whole whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? I've been talking about this when I seen it back in 2017, 2018, when I first got into that particular, aspect of my life in 2016. So I'm well versed to talk about these things out of experience. Like they said, AA means you give your experience, your strength, and your hope. That's what I do on here. I believe because of the path, people I've been around, my influence, and so on and so forth, I'm able, because, a lot of times, like when you read the word, right, or at least me, right, I know we need the Ruach Kodesh to reveal to us to some degree, right? But if I'm talking to a homie on the street who has no basis in that, I'm not changing the word. I'm explaining it to him in terms I know he can understand. What is the point of conveying a message if the people or the target audience can't understand what you're saying? Like Paul said, I've become all things to all men. I'm meaning when he said that, he just meant he's able to articulate based on whoever he's talking to. Someone destitute, the king, the judge, an oppressor. He know how to talk their language. He know how to use words they'll understand. But I haven't changed it. I just translated it like they've done the Bible 347 times. In words you can understand, but the crux of the matter is the same. I'm just meeting you where you at. You know what I'm saying? They want you naive. I've heard a plethora of brothers and sisters say, let's say the sister say, she might have been doing whatever like we all have, and then get caught, let's say out of religion or maybe, city girl lifestyle, whatever, and then all hell break loose. You know what I'm saying? Now the brother she used to run and got an ego boost off of that, these same brothers, or just brothers in general, are now trying to bamboozle her. The same thing happened to me. I used to just, be selfish in that respect and just use female, whatever. I'm like, nah, this ain't right, Then I'm thinking about the human aspect of it. Like, man, I'm hurting them peoples, or I'm leading them astray, or I'm bamboozling them right now. Let me stop doing that. Say that in my heart, and then they either left, or what's been happening lately is they're presenting themselves in a chameleon kind of aspect into, maybe because of what I say on YouTube or whatever, the version of themselves, what they think they want to see and be, but the mask slip, or, like, I do practice active listening skills. And I might not take it in right then and there, but somehow certain stuff people say gets filed away in a file cabinet in my head. And then during still quiet moments, it'll just, the app in my head will just pull it back to my remembrance. I'm assuming that's the Holy Spirit, right? Just like when before I cut my man off, right? I'm trying to give him some grace, right? Because he's my man. I got love for him, but you're doing too much. And I'll never forget. Now, I'm about at the end, I'm about had enough. And I never forget, he said, yo, bro, I knew I was calling you too much. He keep on talking. I get off the phone with him, and that joint popped right back in my head. So you mean tell me you knew you were doing something you knew you shouldn't have done, and you did it anyway? What's the reason for that? And it can't be anything other than, oh, he my friend, oh, he'll put up with it, oh. Nah, now you playing me based on my perception of help, support, goodness for your own purposes. Totally abdicating how I feel about the situation. Now you got to go, cuz now you purposely done this. You had the conscious thought and said I'm gonna do it anyway. Basically saying, F him. And that's why it'd be hard to really, and I truly believe the Most High is gonna have to bring us all together, however you do that, naturally or just through haphazard circumstances. Because I was one of these brothers, like, especially this time last year, I was so tired of society or whatever, I wanted to escape it. I messed around, got a job out to the Grand Canyon doing security. They say it ain't no internet access. Cool. You know what I mean? I just want to exfoliate myself from this. I had actually reached out to a pastor Dow camp because I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, even though I walk an isolated path, it would be good to, fellowship with brothers and whoop de whoop de whoop de woo. But I'm noticing within these hierarchies of brothers, there's a spirit that resides there of control. And you know what's crazy? Brothers seek, I call it king poop on turd island syndrome. Brothers want control over other brothers, but have no problem with the system, like the guerrilla Israelite man being dominated by the system and get off on it. You know what I'm saying, me? Like these nature boy type brothers who go out into the wilderness, this, that, and the third. If they're along, I think people do it better on like secular lines. But when there's any kind of quote unquote spirituality or religion involved, it's like some old Jim Jones stuff. They marrying you, they selling your daughters, they taking your wives and gaslighting you and convincing you this is for her and your best interest. Just go work for free and give me the money, and and as your anointed leader, I'll decide how much. Ain't in the word where it say like you need no man to teach you. You know what I mean? Which goes back to what I was saying about I don't really listen to people, but I do listen to people because I might have an inkling of something, and then I'll hear it from another party through YouTube or wherever at, or somebody hit me up or whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's like confirmation. But just blindly listening to people, just like the jail person who come out of jail because he read 1,000 books, come out and then start promoting this gang stuff because he knows all the rhetoric, because he know you're lost or you're looking for something. And he's not, and here's what, the leadership ain't leading, because I understand as a leader, I'm responsible for the flock. I'm the one who got to take the hit or absorb the whatever on behalf of the flock. The leaders sacrifice the flock or use the flock for their own carnal purposes. But how many times have you seen a leader, lead by example or own up to his mistakes in front of those he's accountable to? You know what I'm saying? Very seldom. They all know it all. They all can't be corrected. You can't say nothing to them. There's no mediation involved. Brothers of truth can't sit down and hash out their issues. So what example are we setting to the world? And that's the scary part, because I thought certain things were off limits. These people are using God's name. They read just like the Christian church. You know what I'm saying? And be totally down with something else. I ain't think they could do that, or allow people to do that, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? It's wild out here. But just stay on guard. And it's not fear. This is encouragement. Because this is just the reality of the situation. You know what I'm saying? The only reason I was able to get functional again with the Most High's breakthrough and grace and mercy is because I seen my situation for what it was, as daunting and depressing and whatever. And on a day-by-day basis, I did something about it. And I just slowly got better. And it took years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still striving. What else am I do with my life? Like back to what I was saying. As a man, you got to be fully tooled. From what I understand, Daniel and them were in the first Babylon, correct? If I'm not mistaken, I might got them mixed up with another prophet, right? And they were well-versed in the scriptures, right? But they were well-versed in Babylonian culture, even though they didn't engage in it, fool with it. So they knew what these other people know. They knew, you know what I'm saying, the culture. They knew how they operated. They weren't ignorant of what was going on around them. I had somebody tell me that, you're consumed with the world. I said, no, I'm not. I just talk about it to share from my experience of my time in the world for those who are coming out or in a similar situation. Here's what it looked like. Here's how you identify it. Here's what you should do in response to it. Practical application. Now, it's a little overcast today, right? So if I say, if I do a 20-minute video about the weather, does that mean I'm consumed by the weather? And here's another thing I was saying in my personal life, and I talk to other people about this, right? With the subtle, because he can't really go at me full, whatever, because I recognize it, right? It'd be more subtle, the gaslight where people attempt to, and Brother Ron, or the Truth, unedited, his last video was basically about just your spiritual intuition, right? And how people will try to get you to second guess what you know to be true because you give them an in. I had somebody ask, they said God told them they can ask me, I can ask them anything, right? And they got to answer, but I ain't had nothing to answer. Because normally I'm of the belief, even when I was in the world or whatever, if I know how to steer a conversation, I can get the proper information I'm looking for without it sounding like an interview or an interrogation. So I ain't got nothing to ask you. And I don't even really know you like that. And I got other stuff going on, so me asking you a whole bunch of questions isn't at the forefront of my mind. It'll come out in conversation, and I do practice active listening skills. You know what I'm saying? Man, bro. But I think that was like, because they say if you ask like a practitioner of witchcraft a question, you're kind of giving them an in because now you're seeking their advice or you're wanting their information. But I ain't had nothing to ask them. And then I think, because I didn't come to that epiphany at that time, because I'm thinking, oh, they want me to ask, like, let me think of something. And nothing. My brain was, I don't want to know nothing. And the stuff that I know, you've told me already. And then again, like my man DC Mo, just by them, because they got, and here's another thing I'm thinking too. I'm truly believing that these satanic, or that if you can extrapolate it, but active listening skill, they still got to tell you the truth. Because this person said you're a war. I may talk about, maybe a few months ago about having this gladiator warrior thing in my spirit. I don't know if they said that because they heard me say it on YouTube or whatever, or land, they seen that. But I also know I was talking to someone else where, let's say, Yeshua goes to the wilderness, right, to fast or whatever. And right before that breakthrough, which he's given power to start his ministry publicly, the adversary attempted to shortstop him by giving to him what was already his prematurely with hooks attached to it. So if you bow down to me, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. I'm already destined to have all the kingdoms of the world. But you want me to bow down to you. Get thee behind me, Satan. And they just hit him with the word. And he said he just left to a more opportune time. You know what I'm saying? So this individual told me, right? And I'm being transparent, right? So I'm thinking, they was like, no, whatever I tell you, it's just supposed to be for you.
What time are you opening?
Oh, no, we got the administrative day today. So we not open. We got to do all that paperwork and crap.
Everybody has it.
Huh? Oh, that's my lady, Miss Treasure. I think that's a demonic possession. I don't know how you cast that off. But what I was saying, so they was like, what I say to you is just for you. You're not supposed to tell anybody. Like making it seem like I'm wrong. But if anybody why shouldn't I be able to tell somebody? I mean, it wasn't nothing secret like where you live at or nothing like that. It was like they were trying to operate in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? And when I say something, not be presented to the light. Or, I just talk about stuff. I talk about my personal life on it. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, then they told me, they said the Most High is not happy. And I can't talk to you for 7 days. So I'm like, all right. I don't like talking anyway. Not really. I mean, not saying it towards anybody. I'm just like, okay. I've been not talking to people, so okay, whatever. And then as we were talking, then it went from 7 days to 21 days. So I'm like, all right. But they were saying, once I'm gone, and you won't be able to find me, and da-da-da. Almost trying to get me on chase mode, like, no, don't leave, and da-da-da-da. So now and then they were trying to tell me what to talk about. Don't nobody tell me what to talk about, yo. So it was like they were subtly trying to impose themselves on my YouTube ministry and practicality. And then I'm like, okay, if he's saying all this to you, and the natural order thing, which you say you're not trying to subvert, but then talking why subverted, why he ain't told me yet? Because everything else I found out, I seen it, But then I heard it from somewhere else, or I went to YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'm not crazy. It was confirmation. How come I don't have no confirmation on nothing you telling me? And it's all attached to me, attaching myself to you. And I prayed, and I ain't know that. I said, if that's the case, I don't want it. Be totally honest with you, I don't want it. I can't tell what this is. So since I can't tell what it is, I'm going to just leave it alone. I keep myself safe out here. Guard it up. You know what I'm saying? Because even the adversary present themselves as an angel of light. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not doing that, yeah. So I block the person. You know what I mean? I told you I don't be playing. And don't feel bad about it. Then I check myself, review myself, make a decision, review it, analyze the data. And for somebody who has a bad conscience, you can't convince me I ain't got a bad one. Because if I do something I know I ain't got no business, you know what I'm saying? I know, you know what I'm saying? I feel that conviction. Why don't I feel convicted now? But then here's what'll happen. Are you wrong because you don't feel convicted? Man, come on. Man, go on here now. You're not going to have me second. And that's what the gaslighter and all them do. They try to have you second guessing yourself or try to distort or change the reality you know it to be because you the one living and experiencing. Sometimes I feel like I don't convey my messages as articulately as I want to based on how I felt when I was experiencing or dealing with it. You know what I mean? But we got to watch out for these bamboozlers over him. My goodness gracious. Many false prophets have gone out into the world. Many, to me, means most, the majority. There's got to be some common traits of someone who's not a bamboozler or a false prophet, false teacher, got their own agenda and motive for doing stuff. You know what I mean? One that I've seen early on, church house, recovery, the lack of humility, the lack of authenticity, the lack of true, genuine concern for those who they're in authority over. Like when I was, had a little position of leadership, they said, because I actually cared, because I'm looking at my leadership skills is based on how well the people I'm leading are doing. Not, I got a title and I just run y'all in the dirt, but I feel great about running y'all in the dirt. No, if I'm prospering, those on my squad should prosper as well. That's my thinking. You should feel comfortable coming to me and keeping it between me and you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, you know what I'm saying? But I be thinking, these people got to tell you the truth, yo. And the truth will come out, yo. Just like with my work daughter, right? She had said, she had made a statement. I started having these thinking on behalf of the Jeff and Ashley woman who's down with the satanic mind. That because of what I was and they knew I knew certain stuff, they were going to try to set me up to stop me from talking. And I noticed a change in her behavior. So I said, yo, I forgot what I said to her. I said something. And she was like, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, okay. You know how sisters say they ain't going to do it and then be the first one doing it. But she had said it like 2 more times after that. I said, nope. It's like you trying to convince me, you trying to sell it to me. Not anything worth buying sells itself. That's why the gospel ain't for sale. And on that note, my holla, y'all gotta go work. One love, baby. Ooh,